Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, Drake and Kendrick Lamar have been going back and forth with this rap beef, if you will. A lot of people have been giving this their attention, and I've said this before, I believe a lot of this stuff is engineered by the industry. Now, that's not to say that some of this stuff, can't be real, but I do believe a lot of it is engineered, that it's fake, that it's arranged by the industry, plotted, scripted, if you will, to get people's attention, to monetize off of people's attention. Once again, it was no coincidence that people were starting to lose interest in these artists and their music. And now all of a sudden they have a lot of people's attention because of all this stupid back and forth that they've been doing lately. Now, if you've been subscribed to my channel for any amount of time, if you've seen even a few of my videos, you should know by now that I always try to look for the deeper meaning behind what's going on, what we really need to take away from what's happening before our very eyes, especially where these celebrities are concerned. And I think there are two main issues that people really need to be concerned about more than being entertained by this beef, like I said, them going back and forth. For one, there was a lot of really disturbing things that Kendrick Lamar alleged, and that's what I'm going to say about that. The first thing, or one of the more popular things that people were choosing to focus on more, was him allegedly hiding a 13-year-old daughter. Like I said, allegedly. We don't know if that's true, although I wouldn't be surprised if it was, because if he did it with his son, he's certainly capable of doing it again with another child. Like I said, it would be no surprise. By now, we should all know that these industry individuals, industry artists, singers, rappers, are capable of this much and then some. They've shown us this in the past. Nobody should be surprised, like I said before. Now, more importantly, what people need to be more concerned about, because what's more concerning and disturbing are the allegations that Kendrick Lamar made against him concerning him being the type of adult that likes to mess with younger children, underage children, allegedly. Now, allegedly, this ain't the first time these kind of allegations have came up against him. Allegedly, there were people who were talking about this for quite some time now. Blind items, if you will, that people have been talking about, alleging that this dude has had a history of, like a lot of the main people in the industry, who had certain people on the payroll, allegedly, whose job it was to go and seek out underage individuals who that particular person, that particular celebrity who they were working for would consider attractive, and then bring that certain person that is underage to said celebrity for them to have relations. Again, there were already allegations out there long before this against him concerning this, allegedly. Once again, these allegations should come as no surprise, because he's been doing stuff that has been very questionable and shady where young people, where children are concerned. Just a couple of months ago, we made a video over here talking about how on Twitter people were really angry and they were calling him out for basically grooming that little black boy who he had in the club with him. Of course, first and foremost, his parents should be ashamed of themselves for allowing him to be in that kind of environment, and they really need to be held to some kind of legal repercussions for that. And quite frankly, that club needs to be shut down, because why in the world would they let a child in there? What in the lazy and lax policies and security was going on? Although, however he got in there, and whatever kind of parents that he had, they were clearly sorry enough to let him be there to begin with. Drake should have been the adult in the situation and said, "Little man, why are you in here? Let me take you home. Where are your parents? Let me call your parents." But he didn't. He had him in there with some other dude, probably some other rapper, putting money in his hand, showing him how to stunt for the gram, if you will. And people saw it for exactly what it was. And I was glad that people saw it for exactly what it was. And it was disgusting. And I do believe, I'll say allegedly, but I do believe he was blatantly grooming that young black boy. And they were also pissed because this is exactly what people were talking about when they were saying that Kendrick Lamar had no issue with him being biracial. It's how he plays both sides of the fence, so to speak. He wants to say, oh, the black community didn't accept me, but then use his privilege to do other things and be controversial. While he was doing that with that little black child, he would have never had his son in that kind of environment doing that kind of stuff. This is why I keep saying these celebrities should not be supported. They should not be put on a pedestal. They should not be looked up to, because while y'all are supporting them, giving them all your hard-earned money, They're promoting all kinds of garbage and destructive morals to you and your kids that they would never allow their own children to partake in. Anyways, though, another reason why these allegations ain't no surprise is because of the weird relationship that he has maintained with Millie Bobby Brown. Now, if you don't know who Millie Bobby Brown is, she's a young actress who played in the show Stranger Things. She was one of the main characters, well, the main character for the most part. And for some odd reason, he had this really weird relationship with this child. Yes, she's older now, but she was like 14, allegedly, when she first met him. And she even gushed about how she would text him, they were friends. And a lot of people were saying, what in the world is a grown behind 30-something-year-old man doing texting a child underage, a child almost half his age? Now, I get it. Some people will try to play the whole, maybe it was like a mentorship type of thing. For why? He was barely an actor before he became barely a rapper. What is he going to mentor her on? Absolutely nothing. Is she going into rapping? No. Does she need help with her acting? Even if she did, she can't get it from him. And even with a mentorship, if that was what we were going with, like I said, that's a big, huge if. There's a certain level of professionalism and maturity that you have with your mentee, if you will, your understudy, where you don't just cordially or platonically talk about certain things. Again, there's nothing anybody can tell me. I told y'all that was a big if, remember? There's nothing anybody can tell me concerning that relationship that will convince me that it was not suspicious or inappropriate. Point, period, blank. And the sad part is, every time in these situations, it's usually, I said usually, the women who are calling these men out for doing this. And it's so sad because sometimes they get called disrespectful names like, oh, y'all are just being mean, bitter, and all this kind of other stuff because y'all are not young anymore. And these men don't want y'all. First of all, those women don't want those men either. And if they're the type of men who would sexualize an underage individual or has to have somebody that's young and naive for them to feel good about themselves, they're raggedy, they're for the trash, and they're not worth being with to begin with. These women who are calling these men out, they do not want these men. They want to warn these young women so they won't be chewed up and spat out. It's just sad we live in such a sick and twisted society where these sickos on the internet will try and drag people for calling them out. Deep down inside, said sickos are just mad because if they had a chance to do those same things, they would. And their pride and their fragile egos are wounded by anybody who calls them out because low-key they have identified with these sick celebrities who do stuff like this, who date young women who are half their age, barely legal, or are messing around, allegedly, with underage young women. The little fragile egos get hurt, so they gotta lash out online and call people names. It's real sick. And at this point, I'm convinced that the best way to handle those kind of people is to shame them. Because if we let them run amok in our society, in our communities, then who is going to be the one looking out for these young women, telling them not to get involved with these older men who just want to manipulate them and use them? The older individuals, especially the older women, can spot them out because they were young once as well. Some of them have even gone through these kind of situations with people like these individuals, so they know what to look out for. Anyways, another example is his alleged involvement with Billie Eilish, another one who a lot of these industry people seem to want to surround themselves with, especially when she was very young. She's still very young, when she was underage. Billie Eilish is another one that these industry individuals seem to want to take advantage of, let's just be honest, allegedly. There was even an instance where he made a song with another rapper, and in the song, the rapper made comments about her body, her breasts, if you will, and this young woman was like 17 at the time. People can say, oh, that's right at 18. Hogwash. She was a minor, and this grown-behind rapper was making comments about her body, sexualizing her and using the sexualization of her body as bars in one of his songs. Drake got a lot of backlash. The immediate response by the sickos was that, oh, well, he didn't say the actual bar of the song. It was the other rapper. But everybody wasn't having that. They were saying, You might not have put it out, you might not have said it, but you were with him in the song. You could have said, I'm not putting this out unless you change that. You tried to make it seem like you were friends with this girl who you should have never been friends with to begin with because he was a minor at the time. You could have told him, you're not putting that out about her, point period blank, but you didn't. Once again, this girl was a minor when they were talking about her in a sexually explicit way in this song. And before anybody tries to play the, oh, well, they didn't do anything card, once again, that is the appeasement for sickos. The fact that anybody would even have something like that to say about a minor as an adult, you're already perverted. You have a problem. So nobody should be questioning why people see Drake as a creep. That is one of the big things that disturbs me the most about this beef between the two of them, like I said before. I'm not here to be entertained, them going back and forward about stupid stuff. The stuff that he said in his song, once again, how it lines up with the allegations, that needs to be looked into. But we know it probably won't be because he's Drake. He does what the industry wants him to do, and he gets rewarded by having everything that he does and allegedly does looked over and swept under the rug. Another thing that disturbs me concerning that one issue is the fact that people really thought that Kendrick Lamar was out here exposing Drake. No, he was not. He was taking shots at him. This man is not y'all's hero or anything akin to that. 9 times out of 10, Kendrick Lamar probably already knew that information, but he sat on it because it was not beneficial to him to reveal it at that time. Now, he waited, probably allegedly, till this moment so he could use it to take shots at him or to get attention, like I said. But 9 times out of 10, he probably already knew this stuff about him, these allegations. And again, he said nothing. So before people go around celebrating him and talking about, oh, how well he did in the clapback, everybody needs to think about that. And the second big issue that people really need to take away from this and pay attention to is, once again, while everybody is chuckling this up and eating it up and all that kind of stuff and being entertained by them going back and forth, notice that this has captured a lot of people's attention, like I mentioned before in the video. So what people really need to be asking themselves, while everybody's being distracted, because that's what this really seems more like, engineered distractions, what really is going on that nobody's actually paying attention to? Because they're so busy looking at these two idiots go back and forth. I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if something crazy popped off in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then it comes out that, once again, while everybody was distracted watching this, if they hadn't been, then they would have saw what was coming later on down the road. I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, this is something else that people need to be thinking about while all of this is going on. Now, some people might think that that's a tinfoil hat theory or something like that, or a stretch. Hey, you can think whatever you want to. I can't force you to see a different perspective. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below. Respectfully, don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.